Do you guys remember Li Changgung? That arrogant fool who got absolutely demolished by Zhang Yi before the underground invasion even started? Yeah, well, while he's off licking his wounds and dealing with problems rising in his own city chuckles, and Xiao Li over there scheming something in the shadows, plotting like always, we've got bigger fish to fry. Or should I say, bigger lizards. Wind howling, snow crunching, two humanoid beings standing on the peak of Mount Everest, 3 meters tall, thick muscular tails dragging through the snow. Built like tanks, they look like the lizard men from Nash, like those Ulug Empire scalies we've seen before. But something's different, something's OF. One of them, pure white, like he's carved from ice itself. The other, crimson red, like burning coals, like he's literally on fire from the inside out, heavy breathing, low growl. These aren't your average lizard grunts, folks. These are something else entirely, and they're here for a reason. But here's the real question. While these two mountain-sized reptiles are having their little Everest meetup, what does this mean for Zhang Yi's plan to remove that curse mark from Drucker? Is his window closing? Is this connected? Or is our boy walking straight into something way bigger than he realizes? The pieces are moving. The board is changing. And trust me, you do not want to miss what happens next.
The checks conducted on the battlefield were exactly the same as those conducted by Zhang Yi, both aiming to prevent external factors from affecting King Arthur's performance. There are still half a month until the decisive battle. In today's world, half a month is enough for far too many things to happen. The strange changes in Fremont have put the whole world on alert. The mechanical life forms captured on the battlefield are their precious treasure, and the mechanical capabilities of all countries will be greatly improved in the near future. The most significant impact came from the spiritual energy released by the Ihan race, which caused a second global mutation. Southwest region, Daxushan Mountain, Mount Everest. If the snow-covered plateau of southwest China is the roof of the world, then Mount Everest is the tip of that roof. This mountain, with an altitude of 8,848.86 meters, is like a sharp sword piercing the sky. Over the long years, it has attracted countless mountaineering enthusiasts and explorers to climb it. In another area, a brand new Buddhist temple, the Jokhang Temple, has been completed. Since Zhang Yi's last visit, the two brothers realized that the power of Tantric Buddhism was extremely important for them to protect the snowy plateau. So they rebuilt Tantric Buddhism. Thanks to its strong religious beliefs and the influence of Lodro as the leader of the liberators, the new Tantric sect quickly became the faith of believers throughout the southwest region. On this day, Luo Zhu stood under the eaves of the Jokhang Temple, watching the snow falling outside the window. The world he saw was different from that of ordinary people. Golden rays of light converged from all directions, like the beautiful and dazzling aurora borealis. Luo Zhu raised his hand, and a ray of light gathered in his palm. Behind him, huge prayer wheels began to spin on their own, without anyone driving them. The world has changed, Luo Zhu murmured. His gaze was fixed on the distance, a deep sense of unease beginning to creep into his heart. The southwest region had become quiet and peaceful, and the people had begun to engage in orderly production and labor, just waiting for the ice to pass so that they could rebuild a civilized city. However, this second wave of mutation that swept the globe brought both opportunities and challenges. Whether it's a blessing or a curse, no one can really say for sure. Luo Zhu raised his hand and grasped the golden light in his palm. He raised his head and looked up at the distant snow-capped mountains. The wind and snow suddenly intensified, and his gaze became uncertain. Suddenly, two golden wings sprouted from his back, their radiance illuminating the courtyard of the Jokhang Temple. Call. With a flap of his wings, he soared into the air, flying towards Mount Everest like a hurricane. At this moment, on Mount Everest, frost that has remained frozen for 10,000 years has solidified here, enduring the endless baptism of fierce winds. This is the highest peak in the world, and from here you can overlook the entire planet. Two humanoid beings stood on Mount Everest. They look like lizards with thick tails, and are over 3 meters tall and have a robust build. They appear to be of the same race as the people of Nash and the lizard men of the Ulug Empire. However, there will be some subtle differences in shape. One was entirely white, while the other was entirely red, like burning coals. It was a layer of armor, like skin, covering them. The crimson one is in front, and the snow-white one is behind. The crimson lizardman's head had a dozen or so small, tentacled protrusions, and black grooves resembling tear stains around his eyes. He crossed his arms, looked up at the towering peak before him, and exclaimed with a smile, "Is this the highest point in this world now? Judging by the Creator's usual methods, I'm afraid a new great flood will break out soon." The white lizardman coldly surveyed the frozen world below. When the ice and snow melt away, the flood will cover 80% of the land. At that time, only this piece of land will be able to be preserved. It will become the cradle for a new generation of life. The red lizardman turned his back and declared boldly, "It's decided. We're going to take this place. What do you think, Kuru?" The white lizardman named Kuru nodded and said, "Lord Kaz, your idea is very wise. We will become the new generation of angels and gain the Creator's favor. At that time, we can at least obtain a whole era of peace. However, there are still many races lurking in the shadows on this planet, waiting to vie for the authority of the angels." Kaz sneered, "For countless ages, the creatures that have survived on this planet have emerged from brutal battles. If anyone dares to stand in our way, we will annihilate them." Kuru said, "The first people we should eliminate are this generation of humans. They have been abandoned by the Creator. Having lost divine favor, they will not be punished by the Creator even if we kill them all." Kaz turned around, narrowed his eyes, and coldly scanned the entire snowy plateau. "That's right, we need to make room for the new generation to grow up." He suddenly turned his head to the side. "Look at the Tujia here." A sharp cry came from afar, and on the white horizon, a golden sun rose rapidly, revealing the silhouette of a giant golden eagle. Luozhu arrived in an instant, reaching the great snow mountain. He descended to the foot of Mount Everest, and when he saw the two people who had suddenly appeared, there was not much surprise in his eyes, only a fleeting sense of wonder. After all, he had experienced the war in Nash Kingdom, and personally fought against the Wuluan Empire in Tianhai City. Therefore, he was already very familiar with the lizard men underground. He simply didn't know where these two came from. Is it that some people in Nash Kingdom are still alive, or that new creatures have appeared from other factions? Now, as the chief priest of the new esoteric school, he carries the faith of all his followers, and these two people made no attempt to conceal their presence after appearing before him. Therefore, they were discovered by Ladro shortly after they appeared. He clasped his hands together and bowed to Kaz and Kuru. "Gentlemen, where do you come from, and what brings you to the snowy plateau?" Kaz and Kuru heard the translated voices from the device, which made them understand the words of the humans in front of them. However, after exchanging a glance, both of them revealed a mocking smile in their eyes. He seems to be one of the more capable guys of this generation. But this is all the level I can achieve. Kuru stepped forward and said to Kaz, "My lord, let me handle this guy. Let's treat it as a hunt, wouldn't that be interesting?" Kaz originally intended to do it himself, since encountering another intelligent being was quite interesting. Since his subordinates had already made their requests, he shrugged and said, "Whatever. Just remember not to kill him too quickly, have some fun with him." Kuru nodded, "As you command, Lord Kaz." He stepped forward, too lazy to translate, and simply said with a smile in his own language, "Come on, you backward 6th generation. Let me see what level your generation has evolved to." He waved to Luozhu, a gesture that likely carries the same meaning among intelligent beings. Provocative. Looking at the two underground creatures before him, Luozhu already knew that they were up to no good. His gaze sharpened. Unlike his brother Juguo, he was born a shepherd's son and had always been involved in the resistance movement, so he did not have the same Buddhist forgiving nature. As expected, they've come with ill intentions. A burst of golden light suddenly erupted from Luo Zhu's body, and the wings on his back became even larger, like a powerful weapon pieced together from golden feathers. In Kuru's eyes, he transformed into a dazzling golden light, attacking like the sun tilting down. Above the snow-capped mountain, Buddha's light emerged, illuminating all directions, and that immense power swept across all directions in an instant. Kuru looked at the human before him with an arrogant smile on his face. That was the expression of a cat playing with a mouse, toying with a lower creature. His smile was radiant, and it remained unchanged even when Luo Zhu stood before him. Thump! Even as his body fell onto the cold snow, that smile remained on his face. Kaz, who had been watching the show from the sidelines, suddenly changed his expression. He hadn't expected this outcome. With just one move, his trusted subordinate was killed by the human before him. Kuru paid the price for his arrogance. He was very strong and shouldn't have been killed like that. But he underestimated Luo Zhu too much. However, Luo Zhu unleashed his full power as soon as he made a move. Kuru's body fell to the ground, a large hole ripped open in his chest, his internal organs spilling out and freezing into dark green ice. His blood was green, like that of insects. Luo Zhu's body stopped in the distant sky, golden light enveloping him, golden wings spreading behind him like a giant divine eagle. He himself did not expect that this move would be so effective. Sure enough, things are different now. He looked at his hands and muttered to himself. Only he could see that golden rays of light, flowing continuously from the entire snowy plateau, were converging on his body. Boom! Luo Zhu had no time to marvel at the power at that moment, because a towering crimson wave of fire erupted from Mount Everest. The deaths of his subordinates enraged Kaz. This was not only because of the death of his subordinate, but also because he felt that his authority had been offended. His crimson body burned fiercely like charcoal, with wisps of crimson flames, like blood, rising up and converging into a huge fireball above him. The intense heat instantly melted the snow and ice on Mount Everest that had remained frozen for 10,000 years, turning it into meltwater that then evaporated into white mist. The intense heat made even Luo Zhu's heart pound. Clearly, this red guy is much stronger than the white guy. You despicable natives, how dare you kill my men? I will kill you in the most brutal way, and then slaughter every one of your people on this land. Kaz roared, raising the enormous red sun, which was already 100 meters in diameter, high with both hands, and hurled it fiercely towards the direction where Luo Zhu was. The sun descended extremely quickly, and all the ice and snow in its path melted away. Luo Zhu doesn't have the habit of wearing combat uniforms. His superpower protects his body, but it still can't completely block out such high temperatures. He felt his skin getting hot. But he did not back down, because if he did, the crimson sun would fall into the snowy region and bring about a great disaster. The golden wings on Luo Zhu's back unfolded one by one. Whoosh, a whoosh, a whoosh. The golden feathers, like 108,000 sharp blades, instantly detached from the wings and shot forward. Countless golden wings shot towards the red sun, slowing its movement, but most of them were quickly melted away. Kaz stood atop Mount Everest, controlling the approaching red sun from afar. Feel the scorching heat from the Earth's core. The red sun's speed was slowed by the obstruction of the golden wings, but it still pressed on firmly forward. This move has no fancy tricks. It's a complete crushing victory with absolute power. Although Luo Zhu received the blessing of faith, he was still forced to retreat due to the absolute difference in strength between the two. He felt as if his body was on fire, and his skin turned crimson red. Just then, another golden light approached, like lightning from the distant sky. Luo Zhu gritted his teeth, but his eyes lit up. "Why are you so late?" The person who arrived was dressed in a simple red monk's robe, but his appearance was exactly the same as Luo Zhuo's. It was his older brother, Zhuguo. Zhuguo smiled slightly but did not answer. She simply rushed towards Luo Zhuo. The two golden rays merged into one, and the twin brothers became one. At this moment, he was no longer Zhuguo or Liu Zhuo, but the guardian deity of Tantric Buddhism, the Burial Lord, who had been passed down for countless years. The moment the two merged, a terrifying power erupted from his body. The Burial Master stretched out his powerful palm and pushed it forward. Vast golden energy erupted like a boundless ocean, colliding fiercely with the red sun. The red sun trembled in the sky, its forward movement abruptly halted. Katz couldn't believe what he was seeing. How can something so lowly possess such power? Could it be? His gaze lingered for a moment, as if he had thought of something. However, given the circumstances, there was absolutely no way he could leave. Flee, that would cause him to lose face. As a member of the royal family of the Xian clan, he could not accept defeat and flee. Moreover, he wanted to lead his people out to fight in this chaotic apocalypse. The snowy plateau was his ideal territory. You two must be the strongest here, right? Once we take you two down, this place will be ours. He was no stranger to the existence of guardians. Such beings also existed in his own race. However, he believed that as a superior being, he could defeat them. Boom! In the sky, the enormous red sun suddenly shattered, and fragments of flame fell to the earth like meteors. On the snowy plateau, hundreds of huge lakes have been created, with white water vapor surging and the lake water boiling. Kaz let out a piercing screech, and his body swelled up in an instant. Its body, which was originally over 3 meters tall, was forcibly increased by more than 1 meter. His body was expanding, as if it had been inflated, and his limbs had become thicker. His skin, like volcanic rock, was crimson, and scorching heat emanated from the gaps in his skin. Mount Everest is melting, revealing the rocks that have been covered for many years, and even fossils of many marine creatures have been unearthed. On the snowy plateau, many nearby herders witnessed this magical scene. Mount Everest, which had been shrouded in ice and snow, now appeared as if it had shed its clothes, revealing its peaks. They quickly knelt down and prayed devoutly. Boom! Kaz charged toward the Burial Lord like a cannonball, his body burning with endless flames, like a crimson sun, melting and burning everything in his path. The Burial Master looked at him calmly, seemingly without joy or sorrow, but deep in his eyes was a hint of murderous intent that could destroy everything. The Buddha also had a fierce-looking Vajra form, yet he could be compassionate towards his enemies. But what lies before us is not an enemy, human, but a creature that desires to destroy all of humanity. Therefore, there's no need to hold back. The Burial Master did not back down and charged straight at them. Golden light enveloped his body. He was only about half the size of Kaz, and his half-small fist collided with the huge crimson fist. The golden and crimson energies annihilated each other, and a fierce shockwave swept in all directions. Boom! The ice and snow on Mount Everest began to collapse on a large scale, causing a massive avalanche. The monks on the snowy plateau rushed out of the temple upon hearing the commotion, only to find that the summit of Mount Everest had been blasted apart. May Buddha protect us. They were filled with fear and could only bow their heads and silently recite scriptures in prayer. They hope that the Buddha can protect them from suffering. Deep in their hearts, their object of prayer has a precise image. The guardian deity of Tantric Buddhism on the snowy plateau, the Burial Lord. The power of each person's will is incredibly weak, so weak that it is almost imperceptible. However, a firm belief, like a trickle of water converging into a river, will become an unshakable force. The brothers Luo Zhuo and Zhu Guo are not particularly strong. Zhu Guo is a black tank of points, and Luo Zhuo is only at the level of points now. Even after combining, The combat power they can unleash is still far below that of a bishop. However, they possess a long-standing religion, blessed by the faith of millions of devout followers. This punch embodied the beliefs of millions. Snap! Kaz's hand bones cracked with a crisp sound, and the blood that flowed out was instantly evaporated. His body flew backward like a cannonball, finally coming to a stop after slamming hard against Mount Everest. The deceased's body was in no better condition. His entire right arm was twisted, the bones were broken, and his arm was swollen. But in no time at all, the injuries were healed. He was as dignified and majestic as the Buddha, perfectly intact, with no visible problems. Juguo and Liuaju couldn't help but sigh in their hearts, thankful that they had listened to Zhang Yi's advice to rebuild the temple, recast the Buddha's golden statue, and reunite the power of tantric faith. Otherwise, facing an opponent of this caliber today, they would likely only face certain death. The two had no time to rest, because the next moment they heard a deafening sound. Mount Everest, the world's tallest mountain, has been cut in half. Boom! The massive mountain was held aloft by Kaz, a truly awe-inspiring sight, like an ant trying to shake a tree or an ant trying to move a mountain. Yet the opponent actually did it. Kaz lifted the massive mountain, setting it ablaze with flames, and then slammed it down upon the burial lord. This may be the largest weapon in the world. Upon seeing this, the deceased hesitated for a moment, but was unable to evade it. Because if he had dodged it, the boulder would have fallen into the city of Sarah. At that time, the hilltop will explode like a cannonball, killing countless people. The deceased silently chanted the Buddhist mantra, Amitabha. His gaze was resolute, and he finally decided to take action and block it. He tore a piece of flesh from the palm of his left hand with his right hand, and his blood flowed out, golden in color. His left hand was pressed against his head, and blood quickly flowed down his skull, turning his entire body into a golden color. A moment later, he became a golden Buddha statue. The image of Vajra, an indestructible golden body. When the funeral director opened his eyes, he already looked like a fierce Vajra. He rushed forward and embraced the enormous mountain peak with his bare hands. His body was thrown backward by the enormous impact, and Kaz leaped forward, taking the opportunity to take his life. As a result, the deceased shouted a Buddhist chant, and his body suddenly exerted force, which directly shattered the mountain, turning it into countless fragments of stone that flew across the snowy mountain. He soared into the sky and engaged in close combat with Kaz. Juguo's close combat skills are not high, but Luo, who came from the resistance army, is a master of it. When the two brothers unite, they complement and reinforce each other, making them extremely powerful in combat. Seeing this, Kars, who considered himself a superior race, naturally wouldn't stand idly by. The two began to fight in the most primitive way on the snowy mountain. Fists, elbows, knees. The two of them wouldn't waste anything that could be used. As the fight progressed, due to the entanglement, they even wrestled together like two scoundrels, tumbling down the snowy mountain. Boom, boom, boom. The snowy mountain has really suffered today. Even when Zhang Yi fought Dai Shishin here last time, it wasn't damaged this badly. Today, the burial master and Kaz are standing directly on the mountain, using the most powerful force and the most primitive methods to attack and kill. This force dissipated entirely onto the snow-capped mountains. The snow on the mountaintop was cleared away, and numerous craters were dug out. If this sacred mountain on the snowy plateau weren't so large, it would have been leveled long ago. Kars is indeed powerful. His body is as hard as rock, and his strength is as terrifying as a dragon or elephant. However, in the battle with the burial master, he initially had a slight advantage, but soon could only fight to a draw, and in the end, he even fell into a disadvantageous position. He gradually realized something was wrong, because on this land, no matter what kind of injury the deceased suffered, it would be quickly healed. At first, Kaz didn't believe it. He fought desperately, his right hand turning into a chopstick that pierced through the heart of the burial master and crushed it. This would be a fatal injury for a human. Even so, the deceased did not die. This incredible scene finally made Kars realize the terrifying power of tantric faith. But it was too late. Like a perpetual motion machine, the burial master finally gained the upper hand after fighting for a day and a night. He relentlessly wore down Kaz, finally tearing his arrogant head off. Juguo and Liujiu separated at this moment, and both of them showed obvious signs of fatigue in their eyes. Not only them, but the followers of Tantric Buddhism also dared not rest until the battle was over. Their faces also showed a great deal of fatigue. Even though I didn't do anything, I felt like I had been working hard all day, and my energy and spirit were greatly depleted. He is very strong, even stronger than the Prince of Nash Kingdom back then. Ladro, holding Kaz's head, absorbed his essence without any hesitation. Juguo also retrieved Kuru's corpse and absorbed his share of his essence. A time of great turmoil. Juguo looked into the distance, his tone not lightened by victory, but rather tinged with melancholy. The world is becoming more and more chaotic. Because the heavenly punishment did not appear. Does this mean that the Creator has begun to lift restrictions on underground life on a large scale? Although the two did not know what would happen in the future, they still told everyone about it through the communication channel of the 6 regional leaders. In an instant, the entire country was once again plunged into a state of panic and fear. In the northwest region, Li Changgong sat in his warm office and saw the message from Luo Zhu, feeling a throbbing headache return. Damn it! Li Changgong has been in a bad mood lately. Because he had heard that chaos from the Jiangnan region had won several more major battles in Fremont. He not only became a world-renowned powerhouse, but also became even stronger. This made Li Changgong, who had been defeated by Zhang Yi and had always hoped to one day avenge his defeat, feel increasingly hopeless. If only I had led troops there back then. Li Changgong rubbed his temples, feeling terrible. The gap between him and Zhang Yi is widening. If they were to face off again now, Zhang Yi could easily kill him with a single move. But it was too late to regret it. Today, the world has changed in ways we don't know. All we know is that after Chernobyl, more and more mutants began to appear all over the world. The quantity and quality of extraordinary individuals are fundamental to the strength of a powerful force. Li Changgong, on the other hand, began to feel increasingly anxious about managing the Northwest region. He did not obtain his position through any legitimate means. Shortly after the apocalypse, relying on his powerful military force, he forcibly forced Luo Yunfeng, the then supreme commander of the region, to step down. However, the old marshal had extremely high prestige in the Northwest military region. Although he has stepped down, he still has many former subordinates in the military, most of whom hold important positions. If Li Changgong wants to manage the Northwest region well, he has no choice but to rely on their strength. Over the past 3 years, he has purged some of the veteran officials and tried to place his confidence in key departments. But he still cannot completely eliminate the so-called remnants of the previous dynasty. What makes them capable of maintaining control over the Northwest region? Isn't it because he's a powerful being from Ipsilon? Even though some people in the Northwest region are dissatisfied with him, who can replace him and protect the tens of millions of people here? But now, the situation is different. More and more mutants are beginning to appear. Zhao Lai, the war god among men and one of the 5 extreme war gods, also advanced to the Epsilon realm. His worries grew increasingly heavy. Knock, knock, knock. There was a knock on the door. Li Changgong composed himself and sat behind his desk, looking dignified. Come in. The person who walked in was a young man with slightly long hair and an indifferent expression. Bai Zhan, the second-generation Sky Warrior. He was also a trusted confidant, whom Li Changgong had personally promoted. Commander, as you instructed, Xiao Lai has arrived. Bai Zhan stepped aside, and Xiao Lai stepped forward, respectfully giving a standard military salute. Captain of the 5 Extremes War Gods, the war god among men, Xiao Lai, reporting for duty, requesting instructions from the commander. Li Changgong looked up and stared at Xiao Lai with a deep gaze. Xiao Lai quickly lowered his head, not daring to meet his eyes. Li Changgong leaned back in his chair, his hands crossed on the table. After a while, he asked, "Xiao Lai, how long have you been in the army?" Xiao Lai quickly replied, "I joined the army in 1943, and this year marks my 10th year in the military." Li Changgong nodded. "That's a veteran who's quite old. You've worked so hard to protect our country all these years, and I'm very grateful for your contributions. However, as a soldier, one must stand up when the country and the people need you." "Right, Comrade Xiao Lai." Xiao Lai had a vague sense of unease, but he still honestly replied, "That's right, Commander. For the country and the people, I am willing to give everything." Li Changgong laughed and picked up a document, throwing it in front of him. "Very good, now we have such a challenging task. Looking at the entire Northwest region, I believe only you are capable of handling it." Xiao Lai walked slowly to his desk and picked up the document. Li Changgong gestured for him to take a look, and Xiao Lai then opened the file. This was clearly a transfer order, transferring Xiao Lai to Ebony Town, the northernmost part of the Northwest region which borders Fremont. The Northwest region is very large. It is more than 2,000 kilometers from Chang'an to Wumu Town in the far north. Keep in mind, this distance is almost as long as the distance from Chang'an to Tianhai City. This was clearly an exile. Resources were scarce there, the weather was extremely cold, and they also had to face Fremont in the north, while to the west they had to be constantly wary of harassment from the chaotic mutant forces in the Middle East. This is an extremely difficult task. Xiao Lai's hesitation didn't escape Li Changgong's notice. He raised his eyelids and asked in a dissatisfied tone, "What's wrong, Major General Xiao Lai? Are you dissatisfied with this transfer order?" Xiao Lai's facial muscles twitched twice, and he quickly said loudly, "How could that be, Commander? I will strictly follow your orders." Li Changgong said calmly, "It's not following my orders, it's following the call of the region and the people." Li Changgong sneered. "Do you think he can bear the consequences of disobeying military orders?" Bai Zhan understood and said nothing more. Xiao Lai is indeed an Ypsilon, but ordinary people simply cannot understand how great the difference can be between Ypsilons. Li Changgong is now a black chariot level, a superhuman with a superpower index of 100 points. He possesses the best resources in the entire region. As for Xiao Lai, he is certainly a genius, and his talent may not be inferior to Li Changgong's. However, he doesn't have many resources and is also feared by Li Changgong, so he is currently just a white chariot with a superpower index of 1. If Xiao Lai dares to harbor any disloyal intentions, Li Changgong can rightfully eliminate him. Li Changgong was prepared for Xiao Lai to disobey the military order this time. But he didn't care at all. Li Changgong pointed at Bai Zhan and said, "Starting today, we will conduct daily testing on everyone in the entire region. Once a superhuman is discovered to have displayed Delta level or higher talent, they must be immediately sent to Chang'an City. Absolutely, he cannot allow anyone in the Northwest region to exist who threatens his rule." "Yes, Commander," Bai Zhan said. Xiao Lai left the military headquarters. Outside, the wind and snow continued, and the Northwest region was exceptionally cold. There were hardly any pedestrians on the roads. Although technology is advancing rapidly, and underground fortresses have been built in extremely cold environments, allowing ordinary people to survive. However, in the cities on the ground, One can almost only see the shadows of soldiers and special personnel. Xiao Lai's military boots sank into the snow. The road, which had been cleared just a few hours earlier, now had only a thin layer of snow. He left 2 lines of footprints on the empty street, and instead of taking a car, he walked back to his residence. Faintly, accompanied by the sound of wind, a noisy commotion came from around the corner of the street. "Let me go, what are you doing? I'm a second lieutenant. I've served the region and risked my life for the commander. You can't treat me like this." Xiao Lai squinted and turned his head to look. He saw several fully armed soldiers escorting a young soldier with a crew cut out of the main gate of a military office building and shoving him into a military vehicle without saying a word. Xiao Lai did not stop. Similar scenes had occurred many times recently. The second wave of the era of mutation is changing the global landscape. More and more extraordinary people are appearing. Li Changgong's paranoia intensified, leading him to launch a massive crackdown on talented individuals. No one knew his true motives. Meanwhile, a storm was brewing in Xiao Lai's heart. News of Xiao Lai receiving the transfer order spread like wildfire, and many people were shocked when they learned of it. The number 2 figure in the army, a superhuman of the Epsilon level second only to Li Changgong, can be said to be the main force in protecting Chang'an City. His transfer from Chang'an to a remote, important military town in the northwest was indeed puzzling. However, since it was an order issued directly by the supreme commander of the military, everyone could only discuss it in private. They've seen nothing new with internal strife. Even someone as powerful as Xiao Lai would be exiled if it was discovered that he might threaten Li Changgong's position. The courtyard of Xiao Lai's family. He sat under the eaves in his military uniform, watching the snow fall outside the window. The dark green shirt clung to his body, making him look tall and valiant, a born soldier. A knock sounded at the door outside the courtyard. Xiao Lai's wife quickly went to open it, and after a brief exchange of greetings, 2 people walked in. A tall, burly, bald man and a thin man with a straight, spear-like figure. Among the 5 extreme war gods are Chen Jiahao, the Arctic war god, and Dai Fei, the Antarctic war god. Both of them were Xiao Lai's best comrades in arms, and their relationship could be described as that of brothers. The 2 were led to the courtyard by Xiao Lai's wife. After tea and snacks were served, Madame Xiao sensibly closed the door and left. Xiao Lai turned his head and glanced at them, but didn't say anything. "Brother, I heard you're being sent to Ebony Town in the far north." Chen Jiahao asked directly as soon as he came up. "Seriously, you really want to go to that godforsaken place and starve every day? You could freeze solid the moment you step outside." The 2 sat down next to Xiao Lai. Dai Fei looked at him and said seriously, "Why don't you go talk to the commander again? With your abilities, you shouldn't be going to that kind of place." Upon hearing this, Xiao Lai suddenly laughed. He picked up the teapot beside him and poured the steaming tea into the cup. As he sipped his tea, he said, "Do you think it's possible to change an order that the commander-in-chief personally gave me?" Dai Fei suddenly stood up excitedly. "If you can't manage alone, then let's all go together. Let's call Qi Yukun and Bai Zhan. Our 5 Extremes war god is the commander's confidant, having followed him for many years, fighting for him in countless battles. How could he do such a thing to our eldest brother who has made the greatest contribution?" Dai Fei's voice grew louder and louder, and his tone became extremely agitated. "Dai Fei, keep your voice down. If you keep talking like that, the whole of Chang'an will hear you." Xiao Lai beckoned to him, and Dai Fei reluctantly sat down. But Chen Jiahao, who looked like a big, clumsy guy, calmly said to Xiao Lai, "The commander seems like a completely different person now. Recently, I've heard that he started a large-scale roundup of talented individuals with supernatural abilities, and then I don't know where he's sending them. We no longer trust the people around us. Many of our old colleagues have been transferred from core positions. Even you, my elder brother, have been exiled to the remote borderlands. If this continues, I fear that one day our lives will not be safe. Xiao Lai listened silently, sipping his tea, but his eyes were as sharp as a hawk's. He stared at a plum blossom in the corner of the courtyard. It grew out of the cracks in the rocks, with slender branches but beautiful flowers. Dai Fei lowered his voice. Brother, are you really planning to retire in the borderlands? If you really leave and your prestige in the army completely fades, I'm afraid he'll turn on you. He doesn't trust anyone now and is constantly trying to become stronger. You are one of only 2 epsilons in the Northwest region, and he can't tolerate you. I've even heard that he's been arresting a large number of talented individuals because he's worried about another one like you. It's even possible that those people have already been executed. Big brothers. Dai Fei looked at Xiao Lai, who remained unmoved and seemed very anxious. We can't just sit here and wait to die. Xiao Lai then turned to look at Dai Fei. Suddenly he smiled. You rascal, you always act so recklessly. However, he said, gripping the cup in his hand. A flame in his eyes burned like a wildfire spreading across the land. It's time to make a move. Xiao Lai is preparing to leave Chang'an. Over the past 3 years, as the strongest and most decorated of the 5 extreme war gods, he has maintained a very good reputation and network of connections in the military. However, because he was sent to the remote border region, many people dared not come to his farewell banquet. It was Chen Jiahao and Dai Fei who organized a private party at home in their own name. Those who attended the meeting were all officers in Xiao Lian's army, with whom he had always had a good relationship. They also have a special identity. They are former subordinates of the former commander Luo Yunfeng. The banquet was very lavish, and the 3 men brought out all sorts of treasured wines to entertain their colleagues. At first, everyone was a little reserved, but as they drank more, they gradually relaxed. General Xiao, back when we were together, how glorious we were. You commanded the 5 extreme war gods and their special forces. I commanded the 6th division of the City Defense Army. It's just a pity now, Sai. The speaker was a Mediterranean general who had once been the general of the 6th division of the city's defense forces. However, when the Ulug Empire invaded, the city's defense forces were almost completely wiped out. Later, when the army was reorganized, most of his authority was stripped away. Like Xiao Lai, he is currently experiencing the most disheartening time of his life. Xiao Lai held the wine bottle in his hand. Seeing that he had almost finished drinking, he gave Dai Fei a look. Dai Fei walked over and locked the door to the private room from the inside. The private room was very large, with 3 tables set up inside, and 20 or 30 people, all of whom were key military personnel. Banged. The door closed with a sound that was neither too loud nor too soft, just enough for everyone to hear. Everyone in the private room looked at Dai Fei. An officer, his face flushed from drinking, pointed at Dai Fei with a bottle of liquor and asked, "General Dai, why did you close the door?" At this moment, Xiao Lai stood up, and Chen Jiahao next to him also stood up. The 5 extreme war gods represent the highest combat power in the entire Northwest region, below Li Changgong. The 3 men standing in front of the private room exerted a great sense of pressure on everyone, making them gradually realize that today's banquet was not ordinary. Xiao Lai walked to the center of the group, first scanning everyone with a serious look, and then slowly spoke. I didn't call you all here today just to see me off. I don't need to elaborate on what has happened in the region recently. You all know. The Commander-in-Chief no longer trusts anyone, not even me, Xiao Lai, who is about to be purged. And all of you here were promoted by the former commander, Marshal Luo Yunfeng. We are all part of his faction. After I leave, I'm sure none of you will have an easy time. The people present initially showed some dissatisfaction, but after hearing Xiao Lai's words, their expressions became serious. Many people lowered their heads, furrowed their brows, and their drunkenness dissipated considerably. At this moment, the senior Mediterranean general shouted sternly, "General Zia-Olai, do you know what you're doing right now?" Zia-Olai immediately replied, "Of course I know what I'm doing." His eyes gleamed with the arrogance of a hawk. "The situation is clear. We, the former commander's old subordinates, can no longer be tolerated by Li Changgong. He is now arresting people indiscriminately without any reason. Over the course of 3 years, your authority has been repeatedly stripped away." He gazed at the Mediterranean Sea. "Brother Chen, you used to be a general commanding an army of 20,000 men. How much power do you still have now? Your best outcome right now is to resign from your job as soon as possible and live out the rest of your days in the allocated housing. You might not even live to a ripe old age." He pointed to the other people in the room, "and read out their names one by one. Lieutenant Colonel He Kihyuan, Major Mausen, General Tian Huanzhang. You're all like me, labeled as the former commander. Before, with just a few of us around," he pointed to the 3 of them, "Li Changgong wouldn't have done anything to you. But I've been exiled to the frontier. Have you thought about what will happen to you then?" His words silenced everyone present, and their anxiety grew. Several officers picked up the bottles of liquor in their hands and poured it directly into their stomachs. They understood what Zia-Olai was saying. "Say such treasonous things, Zia-Olai, do you want to kill us all?" Mediterranean suddenly stood up, his face flushed with excitement. "I can pretend I didn't hear what you said today, and I wasn't even here today." He said he was about to leave. Zia-Olai called out to him from behind. "Are you really willing to give up everything you have now, even your life? If you walk out this door, Li Changgong might not let you go. Cooperating with us now is your only way out." Mediterranean suddenly stopped. His hand was on the doorknob, and no one stopped him. After hesitating for a long time, he turned his head and stared intently at Zia-Olai. "This is a rebellion. Many people will die, and those around us will die because of us." Zia-Olai threw his wine glass to the ground, stared intently, and said, "Failure is rebellion, victory is revolution, isn't it? Though the night of revolution was brief, its glory will endure. I, Zia-Olai, will not keep this glory to myself." Some of the young soldiers had already been persuaded by Zia-Olai. They are only in their 30s and have a long life ahead of them, who would want to be pushed to the edge of power. Given Li Changgong's current madness, they don't know when they might die at the hands of his military police. Mediterranean, his face grim, pointed at Zia-Olai, Dai Fei, and Chen Jiahao and began to berate them. "You 3 are insane. You want to die, why do you have to drag us down with you? You keep shouting about revolution. What do you have to fight Li Changgong with?" He strode forward, grabbed Zia-Olai by the collar. His eyebrows stood on end, and his eyes looked like they were about to burst. In the era of superhumans, a single powerful superhuman can change the course of an entire war. Who will stop Li Changgong then? Zia-Olai stared at the Mediterranean Sea, and suddenly he laughed. "General Chen, so you mean as long as I can hold off Li Changgong, you're willing to stand on our side, right?" He laughed loudly, but a dark light flickered in his eyes. A look of utter astonishment crossed Mediterranean's face. "General Zia-O, could it be that you?" Zia-Olai gripped the wine bottle tightly, lowered his head, and said in a deep voice, 3 years ago, Li Changgong relied on force to rebel and killed Commander Luo Yunfeng. I have been waiting for this day ever since. Don't worry, I'm confident I can handle him. I'm not stupid enough to go looking for my own death before I have enough strength." Mediterranean's expression changed. He began to hesitate, but there was a clear change in his eyes. The other officers also began to whisper among themselves. Zia-Olai pointed at Chen Jiahao and Dai Fei. "You don't believe me. Even if the 3 of us stand together, you still won't believe me." Chen Jiahao and Dai Fei didn't need to say anything. They simply stood tall and straight behind Zia-Olai, which made their stance clear. This clearly changed everyone's mindset. Mediterranean swallowed hard, walked over, and grabbed Zia-Olai's hands. If that's the case, then it's worth doing. It's only right that we, his old subordinates, should avenge Commander Luo Yunfeng. That night, Bai Zhan went to Li Changgong's office to report. Commander, tonight, Xiao Lai has gathered a group of officers for a banquet at his home. Perhaps they want to cause trouble. Bai Zhan lowered his voice, his gaze serious. Li Changgong was reading a book at that moment, the autobiography of the Silla leader surnamed Li from more than half a century ago, titled Managing the Future. Hearing Bai Zhan's words, he rolled his eyes but scoffed dismissively. Impossible. Xiao Lai isn't that stupid. Rebellion? The entire Northwest region is under my control. In terms of martial prowess, I'm number one. Even if he's a madman, it's impossible for everyone else to be a madman. Bai Zhan became anxious when he saw that Li Changgong wasn't worried at all. Commander, I think you shouldn't underestimate Xiao Lai. Banged. Before he could finish speaking, Li Changgong slammed his book heavily onto the table. Li Changgong stared at Bai Zhan. Underestimating Xiao Lai? Do I need to think highly of him? He's just a bastard from a lower-ranking military family with a little talent. Do you really want to compare him to me? Bai Zhan felt a cold sweat break out on his back. Li Changgong is too suspicious now. He doesn't trust anyone. His biggest fear was that the power he gained through an armed coup would be taken away by someone else in the same way. Bai Zhan's words made Li Changgong feel that he was challenging his authority. No, Commander, I absolutely did not mean that. Li Changgong stood up, supporting his waist with one hand and placing the other on the back of the sofa. Don't say Xiao Lai doesn't have the guts to betray me. Even if he did, he wouldn't have the ability to stand against me. This is the Northwest region, and I, Li Changgong, am the king of the Northwest region. Everyone must obey my orders. And no one is allowed to disobey me! Do you understand? His voice grew louder and louder, and his gloomy eyes gave Bai Zhan a feeling of madness. Bai Zhan's throat tightened, and he quickly lowered his head and said, Yes, Commander. Bai Zhan left the office with a worried expression. Although he still had many doubts in his mind, he dared not say anything more. Lie. I hope I'm just overthinking it. That guy wouldn't cause trouble. Otherwise, he'd be courting death. The next day, Xiao Li began to visit his former close friends one by one to say goodbye. Xiao Li's house was in a state of chaos. His wife was directing some soldiers to load the house's belongings onto trucks. Xiao Li personally went to Li Changgong's office to say his final goodbye. Although Li Changgong did not believe that Xiao Lai had the courage to rebel, he still gave him a verbal warning. Upon hearing these words, Xiao Li's heart leaped into his throat. Without the slightest hesitation, he knelt down in front of Li Changgong with a thud, his hands on the ground and his head on the floor. Commander, I am just an ordinary junior officer. Without your promotion, I would never have reached my current position. For you, I have only one feeling: gratitude. My loyalty to you is more unbreakable than the walls of Chang'an. Li Changgong lowered his head and saw Xiao Lai groveling before him like a dog, and a satisfied smile curled at the corners of his mouth. All right, I never doubted you. I'm just reminding you to be more discreet in the future. Work hard after you get to Ebony Town. If you perform well, I'll consider transferring you back to headquarters. Xiao Lai looked grateful and said loudly, Thank you, Commander. Seeing that Li Changgong did not suspect him, Xiao Li turned and left, his hair already damp with sweat. He quickly walked out of the building, and his adjutant came over to help him into the military vehicle. Xiao Li sat in the back seat and looked up at the command center building that Li Changgong had built for him, which was as solid as a fortress. After the invasion by the Woluan Empire, Li Changgong rebuilt the building for his own safety. Its defense level is now higher than before. Li Changgong even moved his own room here, because he was terrified of being assassinated. Even the strongest fortress can be breached from within. After Xiao Lai left, Mediterranean's car drove over from another direction. His extended luxury car was entirely black, making it impossible to see what was inside. After getting out of the car, he glanced at Xiao Lai as he walked away, then hurriedly stepped up the stairs and headed toward Li Changgong's office. After being informed, he received permission to meet with Li Changgong and hurriedly went to Li Changgong's office. Commander, I want to report Xiao Li. As soon as Mediterranean entered, he shouted through gritted teeth. Li Changgong's heart stirred, and he looked up at him. What did you say? Mediterranean swallowed hard and stood straight in front of Li Changgong. I want to report Xiao Li. He once spoke disrespectfully to you, Commander-in-Chief, in private. He said that you misjudged people and sent such an outstanding person like him to the frontier. I absolutely cannot tolerate his despicable behavior. A cold smile played on Li Changgong's lip. General Chen, I remember that you and Xiao Li both graduated from the Army Officer School, and you were his senior. Mediterranean hurriedly said, I have no connection with him. Commander, please believe in my loyalty. Li Changgong had already guessed why Mediterranean had come. His transfer order sent Xiao Li to the remote borderlands, causing unrest among the troops, especially among the old commander's former subordinates, who were worried that they would be implicated. Sure enough, the Mediterranean immediately came to surrender. However, Li Changgong did not intend to let Xiao Li die. An Ypsilon is always useful, he's not that stupid. All right, General Chen, I know of your loyalty. Rest assured, you have been doing a very good job in the city defense force, and I will not touch you. A look of gratitude appeared on Mediterranean's face. Thank you, Commander. Li Changgong really liked this kind of opportunist. He was clever and easy to take advantage of. However, he couldn't say he admired this kind of person's character. If there's nothing else, you can leave now. He waved his hand. The Mediterranean Sea suddenly fawned over them. I have other matters to report to you. Commander. Li Changgong glanced at him. Is there anything else? Mediterranean's smile turned somewhat lewd. I know that you have been working hard on regional affairs these past few days. So I have found a few women to help you relieve your fatigue. Li Changgong is 35 years old and unmarried. It's not that he has any health problems, but rather that at his level, a marriage in name only is no longer so important. He has already seized supreme power, so he naturally has no shortage of women. On the contrary, young and strong, he had extremely strong desires. He made no attempt to conceal this fact. It was an open secret among the top officials of the Northwest region. He has been overworked with regional affairs lately and is constantly worried that others might harm him, so he really needs to rest. Li Changgong raised an eyebrow, leaned closer, and whispered, How's the work? What else can you say about the Mediterranean? Are you suggesting he's tried it? He smiled and bowed, saying, I promise I won't let you down! If you're not satisfied, I'm willing to accept your punishment. Li Changgong laughed heartily, rubbing his lower back, where his kidney energy resided. Send the person over here! That night, the two regiments responsible for the defense of the streets near the military command center successfully rotated shifts. These two units are directly under the command of the Mediterranean. Following the invasion by the Uluwatu Empire, the military in the entire Northwest region underwent a major reshuffle. Among the soldiers in the Chang'an City Defense Army, more than 90% were new recruits who were put to work at lightning speed after less than a year of training. In such circumstances, veteran soldiers and senior officers become especially important. After the Great Mutation era, the role of mutants has become far greater than that of ordinary firearms. Even a powerful weapon like the death of love appears incredibly dull in the face of a mutant of Epsilon's caliber. Xiao Li had been plotting this revolution for quite some time. This was just an opportunity that gave him the courage to take action. With his mind set on the unexpected, he studied the troop rotation map of Chang'an City every day, and he was already confident about tonight's events. Moreover, Li Changgong believed himself to be invincible in the Northwest region and no longer took ordinary soldiers seriously. Therefore, they hardly spent any effort, and while Li Changgong was releasing his long, suppressed hormones in bed, and the officers of Xiao Li's team had already completely taken control of almost all areas outside the command center. The biggest obstacle next is the defense of the command center bunker. Neither the defenses of the command center building itself, nor the personal guards directly under Li Changgong could be breached. Searchlights streaked across the night sky, and several military vehicles arrived outside the command center building. A somber atmosphere filled the air, while the area around the command center building was unusually quiet. The calm before the storm is always there. Xiao Lai stepped off the military vehicle. Tonight, he was dressed in combat uniform and accompanied by a group of his trusted subordinates. Their arrival surprised the guards. Recently, anyone coming to the command center must first notify higher-ups and obtain permission before they can come. However, the people who came were Xiao Lai and several high-ranking military officers. Xiao Li, in particular, is considered their military idol. An officer hurried down the steps and upon seeing Xiao Li, wore a strange expression. "General Xiao, what brings you here?" "This is Wang Shun, a captain in the guard, with the rank of major." Xiao Li walked over, gave him a deep look and said in a low voice, "We have received intelligence that the enemy has infiltrated the military headquarters. In order to protect the commander-in-chief and the safety of the people of Chang'an, we must enter the command center building." After meeting Xiao Li's gaze, Wang Shun nodded silently, then made a gesture behind him. The guards immediately made way. Xiao Li led the group of officers, with Wang Shun following beside them to protect them, and they entered the command center building without any hindrance. On the surface, the Wang Shun has no connection with Xiao Li. However, in reality, he was a spy planted by Xiao Li next to Li Changgong. Although he was only a low-ranking officer, he had the authority to pave the way for Xiao Lai. After Xiao Lai and his group entered the command center, he immediately gave a signal to those around him to act according to the plan. Their goal was to remove the madman Li Changgong from power, not to destroy Chang'an. Therefore, it is necessary to seize the propaganda window and freeze the command authority of Li Changgong's officers. The collapse of a building is more likely to occur from the inside. This is a world made up of people. Orders are issued from higher levels and passed down layer by layer in order to be fully executed and for the power of the higher levels to be exercised. Cutting off the channels for transmitting orders is tantamount to turning the top leadership into blind, deaf, and mute people. Li Changgong didn't care about these things in the past. Since becoming an epsilon, he has considered himself to be a different kind of being, a superior being who can look down on other ordinary humans. The longer it went on, the more he could feel this gap. He naturally assumed that no one in the Northwest region was qualified to challenge his authority, nor could anyone break into his impregnable stronghold. Therefore, at this moment, Xiao Lai and his officers split up and took only a few minutes to completely take control of the entire command center building. The whole process went incredibly smoothly, almost like magic. Xiao Lai, along with Di Fei, Chen Jiahao, and the others, strode forward. At this moment, someone in the building noticed something was wrong. That person was Bai Zhan, the second-generation Sky War god. When he discovered the unusual situation in various departments of the command center, he immediately came to question them. But how could those junior soldiers and officers understand such complicated matters? They were only responsible for following the orders of their superiors. Xiao Lai and his group strode forward, while Bai Zhan rushed downstairs, eager to find someone to ask what was going on. When he saw Xiao Lai and the others, he instantly understood everything. "Defy! Chen Jiao! Who allowed you to come in?" Bai Zhan pointed at the three of them and charged straight at them menacingly. Xiao Lai took a deep breath and narrowed his eyes. In the next instant, his body rushed to Bai Zhan like a phantom, and Bai Zhan felt as if his body had been hit by a train engine. With a loud bang, he was thrown more than 10 meters away and slammed hard against the wall. Xiao Lai flicked out a dagger with his right hand, and without the slightest hesitation, plunged it directly into Bai Zhan's throat. Cough. Bai Zhan's face turned red, his vocal cords had been severed, and he could no longer utter a sound. Xiao Lai took a half step back, and Di Fei and Chen Jiahao walked over from the left and right, one of them restraining his hands, and the other destroying his communication devices. Di Fei placed his right hand on Bai Zhan's throat and coldly warned, "Stay put! We don't want to kill you! Otherwise, we'll snap your neck." Bai Zhan realized what these people wanted to do, and his face flushed red, but there was nothing he could do at the moment. Xiao Li and the others didn't even glance at him and continued on their way. Before long, The entire command center building had been completely occupied by Xiao Lai and his men. Outside the building, thousands of soldiers arrived in armored vehicles and completely blocked the street. Chang'an is a large city, and before they took action, they had already transferred most of the troops that were not under their control. Troops from other areas would take at least 20 minutes to get there. Moreover, for heavily armed troops, the speed would only be slower. Therefore, in a short period of time, this place has become Xiao Li's home ground. However, everyone knew that this was just the prelude. They had resolved other problems, but the most difficult hurdle remained.
How to deal with Li Changgong?
What is Li Changgong doing at this very moment? He was sweating profusely in a room, his recent frustrations only able to be relieved by releasing dopamine. His repeated hard work calmed him down considerably. But after it ended, I felt a sense of emptiness. He thought of many people. Lu Yunfeng, the former supreme commander of the Northwest region, had also mentored him in the past. Originally, he only wanted Luo Yunfeng's position and never intended to kill him. However, Luo Yunfeng could not bear such humiliation and chose to jump from the 20th floor of the building, ending his life. He also thought of Zhang Yi. I don't understand how that warehouse manager could improve his strength so rapidly, leaving me, this chosen one, far behind. Li Changgong sat on the edge of the bed, his bare upper body covered in bronze-colored muscles, looking very fit. He smoked, his thoughts drifting. For some reason, he felt uneasy tonight. Just then, a pair of snow-white arms reached out from behind and gently stroked his chest. "Commander, what are you thinking about?" The beautiful woman leaned close to his ear, looking all understanding. "What, would you like to rest for a while?" "Rest?" Li Changgong frowned. "Are you kidding me?" Just as Li Changgong was enjoying himself immensely, the black chariot-level mutant's sense of danger made him suddenly jump out of bed. He sensed danger approaching. Li Changgong instinctively picked up his twin swords from beside the bed and immediately sent orders to the guards around him. What happened? However, his inquiry went unanswered. Just then, his room door exploded with a loud bang. A raging fire burst forth in the darkness, surging into the room from outside and heading straight for Li Changgong. Li Changgong's heart pounded wildly. He finally understood where that feeling of unease came from. Clang! The gleaming longsword was drawn, and the explosive power sliced through it like a balloon. The shockwave dissipated from around Li Changgong. "Who is it?" Li Changgong roared and quickly put on his combat uniform. The wall had been completely blown open, and after the smoke and dust cleared, Xiao Lai and the others were revealed. They were all dressed in the military's dark green combat uniforms, staring coldly at Li Changgong. Li Changgong's eyes widened as he angrily shouted, "Xiao Li, you bastards, are you trying to rebel?" Xiao Lai coldly replied, "Traitor, it's you who's the one." Li Changgong. Everyone stared indifferently at Li Changgong. Since things had come to this point, no one chose to turn back. Xiao Lai strode forward, saying as he went, "You seized power by force and then turned the Northwest region into your own. Because you were afraid that others would surpass you, you arbitrarily targeted those talented individuals. Li Changgong, you are not qualified." Li Changgong stared coldly at Xiao Lai. He turned his head to look at the Mediterranean Sea behind him, then glanced at the two trembling women on the bed. He suddenly let out a cold laugh. "You think you can use such a clumsy method against me? You guys are so naive." His hands were on the hilts of two long swords. "Even if you control the entire Northwest region, it doesn't matter to me. No one can stop me once I make a move. I can kill whomever I want." The officers behind Xiao Lai glared angrily at Li Changgong on the surface. But it would be a lie to say they weren't panicking inside. They could only look to Xiao Lai, hoping that this guy would really keep his word. Xiao Lai smiled and looked at Li Changgong. Why don't you give it a try?" Di Fei made a gesture, and the officers jumped off the high-rise building without hesitation. At these high-ranking officers each possess at least a power index of 9,000 points. Without formidable strength, they simply cannot intimidate the current army. However, this battlefield was no longer one they were qualified to participate in. They observed the battle from a distance while simultaneously directing their trusted troops around them to maintain control of the situation. If Li Changgong's reinforcements arrive in 20 minutes,
A bloody battle may ensue!
Li Changgong stared at Xiao Li, narrowed his eyes, and said in a deep voice, Xiao Li, I originally thought you were a smart man. I never expected you to do something so foolish. The white chariot is challenging the black chariot. The difference in our strength is too great. But what do you have to fight me with? The Xiao Li did not answer the question. He countered, You haven't forgotten Commander Luo Yunfeng, have you? Upon hearing this name, Li Changgong's face immediately darkened. Xiao Li continued, The moment you hypocritically came to pay your respects at his funeral, I made up my mind. Sooner or later, I would make you pay for what you did. He pulled out 6 grenades with his hands, and black supernatural power surged from his body like smoke, carrying a terrifying force that made one's heart tremble. Li Changgong's pupils suddenly contracted, and he realized that Xiao Li had been hiding his strength all these years. His true strength was actually not much different from mine. All these years, I've been waiting for an opportunity. I originally thought that if you could truly be a good commander of a region, I would consider letting you go for the sake of stability in the Northwest region. But you have disappointed me greatly. A rotten orange is a rotten orange. You're beyond saving. As soon as he finished speaking, the grenade in Xiao Li's hand underwent a strange change, its body writhing as if it had come to life. Xiao Li threw them at Li Changgong, and they squeaked like rats, instantly surrounding Li Changgong. The next moment, a violent explosion erupted. Li Changgong drew his twin swords and unleashed hundreds of slashes in the blink of an eye, forcefully cleaving through all the terrifying power. Xiao Li's fist appeared on his left side in an instant, punching him in the lower back. Li Changgong's body twisted nimbly, but his speed was ultimately half a step slower. Pa! Puff! With a muffled thud, he was violently thrown out, crashing through the glass of the high-rise building and flying towards the outside world. Li Changgong felt as if his abdomen had been struck by a spiked club, and the pain was unbearable. You bastard Xiao Li! Li Changgong's eyes were bloodshot. He paused in mid-air, took a deep breath, and then had his combat suit inject medicine to relieve his injuries. When the war actually started, he realized just how bad his condition was. The 2 women sent from the Mediterranean had significantly reduced his physical strength and concentration. But so what? He gripped the 2 swords tightly in his hands. One cut, just one cut. He only needs to strike Xiao Li with one blow to end this battle completely. He, Li Changgong, is the will of heaven. Wherever his blade points, everything will perish. Xiao Li soared into the air and hovered in mid-air. My ability, Metal Frenzy, can enhance all matter, so if I want, I can be a Black Chariot level enhancement type mutant, an emission type mutant, and the strongest weapon master! Li Changgong, I've followed you for 3 years and have figured out your abilities and methods. He pointed his index finger at Li Changgong's knife. Your blade is formidable, but as long as you avoid its edge, you pose no threat. Li Changgong and Xiao Li engaged in a fierce battle high above the command center building. The battle between the 2 Black Chariot-level mutants instantly attracted the attention of the entire city of Chang'an. It was only then that Li Changgong's troops noticed the chaos and hurriedly began to rush towards the scene. However, Xiao Li's officers were also using all their resources to stop them from coming. The key to the war was Li Changgong and Xiao Li. Xiao Li must win, otherwise, even if Li Changgong escaped, he would still summon troops to quell the rebellion in the name of the Supreme Commander. Xiao Li remained incredibly calm at this moment. Once things had come to this point, there was no need to think about anything else. Only war. He unleashed the full power of Metal Frenzy, unleashing a barrage of weapons and launching a chaotic attack on Li Changgong. Faced with such an offensive, Li Changgong knew that it was all just a facade. The knife in his hand was precisely the greatest natural enemy of Xiao Li's weapon. A Xiao Li arrived in front of a building and placed his right hand on it. In an instant, the entire building began to writhe as if it had come alive. The black building transformed into a giant black python, which lunged at Li Changgong with a gesture from Xiao Li. Li Changgong's eyes were cold as he drew a beautiful cross in the air with both hands, cleaving the building in 2. But Xiao Li had already taken advantage of the situation to hide in the shadows of the building. When the building fell, he suddenly rushed out and slammed his fist into Li Changgong. If this punch lands, it will inevitably cause unimaginable serious injury to Li Changgong. He didn't use any weapons like swords, so fighting Li Changgong would be pointless. On the contrary, their fists and feet are more agile. Damn traitor. Li Changgong had just exhausted his sword strikes when he had no choice but to swipe back with his sword at an angle.
And aiming straight for Xiao Li's lower body? Whoosh.
The sharp blade light slashed through the sky, but unexpectedly, this incredibly fast strike missed its target. Xiao Li dodged Li Changgong's attack and smashed his fist, as big as a casserole dish, directly at Li Changgong's head. The terrifying power emanating from that fist made Li Changgong's heart pound wildly. He hadn't expected this guy's strength to have reached such a level. Li Changgong was unwilling to risk his life against Xiao Li. He could have taken the opportunity to use his left hand to slash Xiao Li, but if he failed, his own head would be smashed, so he chose to dodge. Kal. The fist grazed his head, and the force of the blow shattered his tactical helmet. The sheer force of the punch destroyed a nearby tower. A smile appeared on Xiao Li's lips. You're afraid of dying, aren't you? I'm not afraid. Having seen through Li Changgong's bluster and cowardice, Xiao Li immediately engaged him in close quarters combat. While Li Changgong's blade was indeed powerful, Xiao Li, after strengthening his physical body, was so fast that he became a blur, and able to nimbly dodge even within the range of Li Changgong's blade. At this point, both sides' attacks could take the other's life. However, within such a small space, no one can gain the upper hand. At times like these, it's a contest of who can stay calm and who has the most courage. Therefore, at this moment, Xiao Li, who was desperate and harbored a desire for revenge, gained the upper hand. Li Changgong, this punch is to avenge Commander Luo Yunfeng. For a lowly officer like me to die alongside you, a scion of a prestigious family, is a death without regrets. Xiao Li figured out Li Changgong's fighting style and became more and more courageous in battle. Li Changgong's heart sank deeper and deeper, because he didn't want to die, and he didn't want to trade his life for the guy in front of him. In desperation, he shouted, "Shu Li, are you crazy?" In desperation, he shouted, "Shu Li, are you crazy? If we all die, the Northwest region is finished. Stop fighting, and we can discuss everything. I can appoint you as deputy commander, and I'll share the entire Northwest region with you. Just stop fighting." Xiao Li remained unmoved. "Heh, do you really think I'm a fool? Even if we die in battle, new guardians will emerge from this land. You and I have simply taken up more resources. The world is never short of geniuses. Whether I, Xiao Li, live or die is irrelevant, but you, Li Changgong, must disappear." Ka. His enormous fist slammed directly at Li Changgong's head. After Li Changgong dodged to the side, the force of the punch destroyed half a street. The two fought to a fever pitch, and many buildings in the city center were destroyed. The battle was extremely dangerous. If either of them let their guard down, they would be killed instantly. Even the soldiers who came to provide support for the troops forgot what they were originally supposed to do. The generals on all sides tacitly halted their advance, because Defy and the others made a call to them as instructed by Xiao Li. I simply told them, the revolution has failed, and we are the ones who will die. You will not be punished. You can't decide anything on the battlefield now, so don't go any further. We don't want to see bloodshed. Li Changgong's blade flashed across the sky above Chang'an City, while Xiao Li's fists pressed forward relentlessly, adopting a posture of fighting to the death. Xiao Li's strength was actually inferior to Li Changgong's, but Li Changgong was tricked by them, which caused him to consume a lot of physical strength in advance and make it difficult for him to concentrate. Furthermore, Xiao Li's fearless in life, or death-fighting style gave him the upper hand. Soon, Li Changgong realized that the situation on the battlefield was becoming seriously unfavorable to him. In close combat, it was difficult for him to use his longsword effectively, while Xiao Li was practically fighting right up to his body. He had the urge to fight Xiao Li to the death many times, but after considering the consequences, he still didn't have the courage to do so. Just as he was struggling with this decision, Xiao Li suddenly roared, "Li Changgong! Go to the underworld and apologize to Commander Luo Yinfeng." One sentence threw Li Changgong into a state of confusion. He came to his senses, only to find Xiao Li's fist already slamming into his chest. Li Changgong hurriedly dodged, but was hit squarely on the shoulder. How powerful can a black chariot level-enhanced mutant be? They can pull a 100-story building off the ground. So when the punch hit Li Changgong's shoulder, it didn't break as expected. Instead, they smashed his shoulder into a bloody pulp. Puff. Even with the protection of his combat suit and his supernatural abilities, Li Changgong was unable to withstand this powerful force after a long and fierce battle. So his left arm was completely shattered into dust. Despite the excruciating pain, Li Changgong, his expression contorted with rage, raised his knife to slash at Xiao Li's head. But in that instant, incredibly complex thoughts surfaced in his mind. He thought of the officers' hateful faces when they looked at him. I thought of the incredibly disappointed expression on the old General Luo Yunfeng's face when he was forced to resign. Luo Yunfeng used to train him very carefully, treating him as his successor. But he couldn't wait any longer. If he were to fight Xiao Li to the death here today, the best outcome would be Xiao Li's death and his own serious injury. The Northwest region will truly suffer a severe blow. The excruciating pain in his body made his mind even clearer. Instead of bringing down his knife, he turned and fled towards the outskirts of Chang'an. Xiao Li was not about to let him leave. He chased after him relentlessly. Just then, the sound of a hurricane came from the distant sky, and a JF-6 fighter jet soared through the night like a falcon. Xiao Li had never seen this machine before because it was Li Changgong's personal vehicle. Not everyone is Zhang Yi, possessing unparalleled spatial displacement abilities. This fighter jet was prepared by Li Changgong for himself in case of emergency. His left arm was completely useless, but fortunately, the tactical bandages on his combat suit helped to tighten the wound and stop the blood from flowing out. The inflated repair foam also isolated him from the cold outside air, preventing his body from further decaying. The fighter jet flew in from a distance and precisely opened the hatch to catch Li Changgong. Although Xiao Li wanted to give chase, no matter how fast he couldn't outrun a super fighter jet that could travel at more than 10 times the speed of sound. Unwilling to give up, he immediately issued orders to the missile forces. "Immediately target that fighter jet and launch a tracking missile!" But General Xiao Li, you don't have the authority to mobilize the missile force without the permission of the Supreme Commander. The head of the missile unit knew what had happened in Chang'an. But rules are rules, and as soldiers, they only followed the military regulations. Xiao Li watched helplessly as Li Changgong moved away from Chang'an City, hovering in the air for a long time, before finally giving up the pursuit. Without killing Li Changgong, he indeed couldn't mobilize the troops of the entire Northwest region. But so what? And he and his allied officers now have control of the command center. Li Changgong's perverse actions during this period have already drawn the ire of many. If he wins, the others will naturally side with him. Xiao Li landed on the city wall of Chang'an. The soldiers guarding the city looked at him in astonishment, but immediately saluted after recognizing him. Xiao Li took a shoulder-fired surface-to-air missile launcher from a soldier and aimed it at the horizon. He can use the Metal Frenzy ability to amplify weapons, giving them the power of large missiles. However, after thinking about it for a moment, he put it down. At such a distance, killing Li Changgong was virtually impossible. And being severely injured, he dared not return in the short term. So now, what he needs to do is to completely take control of the entire city of Chang'an. With Chang'an in hand, the Northwest region is practically his. Xiao Li exerted force with both legs on the ground, and he flew towards the center of Chang'an City like a rocket. Soon after, he arrived at the command center building. While in the air, he could see that the streets of the city were crowded with armored troops who had come to assist in suppressing the rebellion. Xiao Li did only one thing: he sent voice messages to the leaders of various units. The battle is over, and the night of revolution has passed peacefully. These words proclaimed that he had defeated Li Changgong and successfully seized supreme power in Chang'an. Upon hearing this news, and the officers and administrators immediately changed their attitude and began to congratulate Xiao Lai. Many people directly condemned Li Changgang's perverse and reckless actions, and sincerely thanked Xiao Li and the others for overthrowing this tyrant. Some people are worried that things might change, so they haven't spoken up yet and are still observing. Ignoring all that, Xiao Lai landed in front of the command center building, whereupon the officers who had joined him in the uprising immediately surrounded him. Xiao Li met their anxious gazes with a faint smile. "What's with that look? Didn't I tell you? I can definitely do it." A burst of excited cheers erupted around them as they rushed forward and lifted Xiao Lai high into the air. Whether for justice or for fame and fortune, they achieved a great victory. Xiao Li did not rush to celebrate, but instead had them take over military command of all parts of Chang'an. "Summon all the department heads here. Those who are willing to submit to us will continue to be employed. Those who are not, send them straight to the Western Paradise." Xiao Li acts decisively. This is not a dinner party, but a life or death struggle. For Chang'an to maintain stability, there can only be one voice within the army. He wouldn't make the same mistake as Li Changgang, leaving behind those who didn't approve of them. "Let's take advantage of this revolutionary night to clean everything up in one fell swoop." Defy and the others were overjoyed. They straightened their backs and began to give orders. The entire city of Chang'an was bustling with activity tonight. However, without Li Changgang, the others naturally could not contend with Xiao Lai. However, not long after, Xiao Li received a communication message. He looked at it and saw that it was sent by Li Changgang. Xiao Li's gaze turned serious, but he still answered the call. On the other end of the communication device, Li Changgang's slightly panting voice came through. "Xiu Lai, you have some nerve."
How dare you, rebel!
Xiao Li sensed Li Changgang's resentment, but he only sneered. "We're in the same boat." Fine. You win this time, but do you think things can be resolved so easily? I am still the king of the Northwest, and you can't take away the Northwest region." A mocking smile appeared on Xiao Li's face. "The king of the Northwest, Li Changgang. Do you really think you're a nobleman? I'm sorry, but the reason you've always been able to have absolute authority in the Northwest region is simply because you have the power. Bloodline, status. Those are merely things that are subservient to strength. You are simply not qualified to be an excellent commander. No one in the Northwest region will like a guy who is so unpredictable." Li Changgang retorted angrily. "Nonsense! Aren't you the same? Do you think you can command respect and win people's hearts just because you're the commander? You're too arrogant." "No, I'm not like you." Xiao Li's expression turned serious. My resistance against you has never been for my own sake. It's to set things right, to allow everyone in the Northwest region to fully utilize their abilities, and to enable the people of the Northwest region to live in peace." He looked behind him and saw some military officers rushing over to greet him. Xiao Li waved to them, telling them to go about their business. Li Changgang's voice was clearly uttered through gritted teeth. "Heh, don't tell me you won't become the supreme commander of the Northwest region." Xiao Li sighed. "I've already said it. I'm not like you. I am indeed not good at managing the Northwest region, because I am just a pure soldier and do not know how to manage such a large region. Fortunately, I have many excellent people around me who will help me manage this place well." Lu Changgang. "The victor is king, the loser is villain, but don't be too smug." He wanted to continue making threats, but he suddenly stopped before he could finish. "Xiao Li, I hope you won't take your anger out on others for our past grievances. I didn't clean up the mess left by the old marshal back then. So, I hope you won't carry out a major purge in the Northwest region." Li Changgang revealed his true purpose. He needs to find a place to recover from his injury before considering what to do next. However, his biggest worry was that Xiao Lai would purge his trusted confidence. There are quite a few of his relatives in Chang'an. Xiao Lai said, "As long as they behave themselves and don't cause trouble, I won't take their lives." Xiao Li ended the call and immediately informed Chen Jiahao, Defy, and others. "Remove all authority from everyone associated with Li Changgang and imprison them. Remember, do not harm their lives." The transition of power was remarkably harmonious. Yet Li Changgang had long aroused the dissatisfaction of many. He was capricious and always suspicious of others. Because he was afraid of being replaced, he arrested a large number of people with extraordinary talents. So many people had long hoped that he would step down. Now that Xiao Li's team has taken the stage, everyone else, unless they are die-hard loyalists of Li Changgang, will be able to retain their original positions. For them, losing a madman and replacing him with a general who has a better reputation and high prestige in the military as the supreme commander can only be a good thing. On Li Changgang's side, he was the only one in the fighter jet, and the intelligence system was controlling the flight of the fighter jet. The sudden blow he received made him very sad. He never imagined that he, the dignified king of the Northwest, would lose his position not because of external attacks, but because of the rebellion of his own people. He misjudged him. Although he knew Xiao Li was a talented man, he still underestimated him. If he had known this would happen, perhaps he should have taken action to suppress it sooner. I need to calm down. The situation hasn't completely deteriorated yet. I am still the commander-in-chief of the Northwest region, recognized by the 6 major regions. And I am also recognized by the people of the Northwest region. Once I recover from my injuries, I can go back and seek revenge on Xiao Li. This was just a despicable sneak attack, when no one will submit to him. When the time comes, I can wipe them all out with a single swing of my arm. However, the most important thing right now is to find a place with good medical facilities for recovery. The medical conditions on board the fighter jet were rather basic. Although the bleeding was stopped, his left arm was completely shattered. Only by finding a high-level medical-type mutant can one have a chance to achieve limb regeneration. After much thought, his best course of action was to fly southeast to find Zhang Yi. Zhang Yi has a doctor by his side who is exceptionally skilled in both medicine and has extraordinary abilities. Li Changgang gritted his teeth and ultimately decided to contact Zhang Yi. Although there were some conflicts between the two of them, they were not major issues. At most, it was just that Li Changgang was jealous of Zhang Yi. If I ask him for help now, I doubt Zhang Yi will refuse. Li Changgang did 2 things. The first thing to do is to inform the other 5 major regions about Xiao Li's rebellion. The second thing was to contact Zhang Yi, hoping to go to him for treatment.